What's up, everyone? I hope you all had a great year in 2024. It's that time again to give you my top 10 list of what I think are the best movies of 2024, and if not the best, definitely my favorite. Now, I do have to be honest, looking at other people's top 10 lists, they definitely have the more, critically acclaimed drama films, horror films. My top 10 list is pretty much most of the movies I watched this year, which are the main popular blockbusters. So if you want to judge me on that, I totally get it. I feel like this year is one of the years where I did slack off, where I just felt like there wasn't much for me to personally want to enjoy and see. But still looking back on it, we definitely had some classic movies, I think, that came out that will last a long time for fans. So with that being said, I rated pretty much all the ratings for these movies that I gave was 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, and 10 out of 10. So starting off at number 10, I have Furiosa. Now Furiosa, if you don't know, it's a prequel to the Mad Max film franchise. So it's like a post-apocalyptic storyline where it's like only the strong survive. But this protagonist is a strong female lead, and we know her from the regular Mad Max movie, and I think she's a beloved character. But this shows her when she was younger and how she became that type of character with that strong mindset. So personally, I really did enjoy this movie. I'm not a huge fan of the Mad Max franchise because I only saw a few of them, but I also really enjoyed Chris Hemsworth's performance because he had on like this nose prosthetic, like you couldn't even really recognize it was him, and I feel like the character was so wacky and crazy that he was believable. And I really had a fun time watching him as well. And the action was just top tier. So that's my number 10 favorite or best film. At number 9, I have Moana 2. This is also an 8 out of 10. And the reason why it's number 9, because I really love the first one. Absolutely. Like when I watched that first Moana movie, it completely, it made me like fall in love with Disney animation again. I just thought the music was perfect. The storyline was perfect. The characters were perfect. And I was really excited to watch this sequel. Although we all know with sequels, we mostly get let down. I wouldn't say I got let down by Moana 2, but I didn't really enjoy the music as much as the first one. And the storyline was good. I need to watch it again, but I just feel like maybe the second one had too many characters. And I wouldn't say the characters pissed me off. It's just like they're branching off into more characters to support Moana, which is fine. But that's my number 9. And number 8, I have Sonic 3. This I gave a 9 out of 10, and I really love the Sonic franchise. Thank God that they listened to the fans, the studio, and they changed that animation style of Sonic, because now we have like the most adorable cartoon, I guess live action characters or art design. And it just brings so much heart out of these performances, whether if it's the voice acting or the animation. They really did this franchise justice. And just a shout out to Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey plays two characters in this movie. He plays himself, and he plays who's the evil Dr. Robotnik, and then he plays his grandfather. So he's literally dancing with himself. And I think he had a good time doing this. I don't know as an actor if he's like forcing himself to be funny and act crazy like he did when he was younger. But there's a part of me that thinks that he enjoys these type of characters. And I'm happy to see him going back to doing the funny comedy stuff. So overall, this is a great storyline. Not a huge fan of Keanu Reeves' performance because I felt like it was so monotone. And I do think that's how Shadow sounds in the games from what I remember. But I feel like Keanu could have brought a little bit more to his performance. At number 7, another animated film, I have Transformers 1. I gave this a 9 out of 10 because this movie completely shocked me. I went into this not knowing what to expect, because Transformers, although it was an animated series, lately it's been a live action franchise. So for them to go back to its roots and have an animated film, and I don't know if you guys know this, but this movie is an origin story of how Optimus Prime and Megatron came into power, pretty much. Like they used to be friends, and then obviously you watch the movie, they have a fallout. But I was not expecting the story to be so profound towards the end. It takes you on a huge journey, and you fall in love with these characters where it's the type of villain where you see both sides of it and how it came to be. Oh my god, and Bumblebee was so funny. Was it Michael Keaton? Not Michael Keaton, what the hell? the guy from Key and Peele. I'm drawing a blank right now. Oh my god, you guys know who I'm talking about. But he was just so badass. That's the joke I remember from that movie. He kept calling himself Badassatron. That shit was so hilarious. So they're obviously going to come out with a sequel, and I really look forward to that. So at number 6, I have Gladiator 2. I gave this a 9 out of 10, and I think that's probably a little too high because a lot of the huge fans from the original absolutely love the original movie, and I see online that they were bashing the hell out of this sequel. Now, the reason why I enjoyed this sequel so much, honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's because like I really wanted to watch some type of like masculine man fighting film, because it reminds me of the shit I grew up with, like Lord of the Rings, like all these epic battles. That's the type of genre that I like watching because it just makes me motivated and it gets me hype. So I thought this movie did really well at portraying those huge battle scenes, as well as like those intimate one-on-one fighting battles. Now, of course, looking at the story, it's an absolute repeat of the first movie, and then we could get into like the different acting performances too, because I think Denzel Washington's performance was questionable. He plays like this bisexual dude, and it's just I don't know, I feel like Denzel did a good job with it, but it did feel weird at times. And then on top of that, he has like these masculine moments where he kind of fights. It's very strange with his character all around, but I still think he did a pretty good performance. I like the main actor. I thought he did very well. But overall, this was a type of movie that I really wanted to watch, and I felt like it delivered on that. So that's why I give it a 9 out of 10, and it made my top 10 list. Now, number 5, I would say these top 5 are definitely my top 5 for a reason. I don't see me switching them out. But number 5, I have Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, and I give it a 9 out of 10. This movie, and I think we can all agree, if you watch this movie, we all gave it 100% respect. I think we really appreciated the new character of Noah and how he came into his confidence and leadership. This movie is definitely inspiring by the end of the movie. If you're not a huge fan of Planet of the Apes movies, such as myself, honestly, I don't even remember the trilogy or the old, like, I remember I watched them, but I never like rewatched them to the point where like I remember the storyline, if that makes sense. But I do appreciate all the movies, but this is the one movie where I was moved in some type of way, probably because the music and the characters and the pacing of the movie. I just loved everything about this movie, and that's why I gave it a 9 out of 10. It's my number 5 favorite, and they're definitely going to come out with more. So if you're new to Planet of the Apes, definitely watch this Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, because they're going to come out with a few more based on this new main character of Noah, and I'm really excited for that. At number 4, I didn't know how to feel about this one going into it, and I love musicals, but I gave it to Wicked. Now everyone, mostly females, mostly men who love musicals, and I love musicals too, but I wasn't sure what to expect with this, because I know listening to the soundtrack and everyone talks about the Broadway, it's like I rock with a few songs, but I don't know if I'm in love with every song. But when you watch this movie, I just really appreciate the directing, the lighting, like every shot in this movie, the camera's moving, and even like the set designs are real. There's like, of course there's green screen because it is like a fantasy story, but for the most part they made an effort of making real live sets with real background dancers. Like nothing is photoshopped. They have like 100 backup dancers all in sync, moving at different times, and it just flows perfectly. And I really loved a few of the songs, not all of them, but I really look forward to part 2. Like, oh my god, the two main actresses, Cynthia and Ariana Grande, they both just had so much chemistry. Even the other cast members, everyone did their part for this type of movie, and that's all you can ask for in regards to a movie or a musical. This might be the best musical movie of all time. However, I think no matter what, The Greatest Showman is probably my favorite of all time, and might be the best still, because this Wicked one was a long runtime, and they literally have a part 2. That's crazy. But check out The Greatest Showman as well. But Wicked's my number 4, 9 out of 10. At number 3, man, this movie, I got emotional several times, but this is The Wild Robot. This I gave a 10 out of 10 because, and at first I gave it a 9 out of 10, but I just couldn't stop thinking about this movie and the storyline and those emotional moments. I was like, you know what, I gotta see this again, because something about this movie is very, very special. So I watched it again. I gave it a 10 out of 10, and it just means so much to me, because I feel like I could just see myself and my family members and friends just like It's just such a human story, yet it's surrounded by animals and a robot. How the hell does that make sense? It doesn't, but the way they explain the story, it does make sense once you watch it. And there's just so much heart in this movie, because at first when you're watching it, there is no heart, right? She's a robot. Her name's Roz. But then she starts to grow an attachment for this little young goose. And it's like the sweetest movie you could ever watch. And it's just about like parenting, facing your fears, learning to get along, learning to be involved, and just adapting to your environment, and also forming a community, which is something that all of us humans can also relate to. So definitely watch The Wild Robot. The animation was stunning. It's like a Bob Ross painting in the background throughout the whole film. It's insane the type of animation they did. It's very different and innovative. So at number 2, this is pretty basic, but I have Deadpool vs. Wolverine, because, and I give this a 10 out of 10, because this movie just kind of gave us fans what we really wanted, and that's all we can ask for. It doesn't have to be like the greatest movie technically, but the way this movie is so damn hilarious, and how Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds just have perfect chemistry. I mean, and these two characters in themselves, like just like the craziest characters put together for like over 2 hours. It's insane. It's extremely it's rated R, so it is extremely bloody. It's raunchy. There's a lot of cursing, a lot of sex jokes apparently, but it's just so damn funny. And just even nowadays with the technology, with like the cutting scenes and the blood and the fighting, the shooting, it all looks real to me. And I don't know, just what sells me on it. And there's heart in it too. Obviously the villain is not really memorable, but it plays its part. But the two characters in themselves, man, this is one of the best superhero movies of all time, because they're two very complicated characters that have so much humor to cover up their pain inside. I mean, it's crazy. It's really a crazy movie, and a corny ass movie, I guess, because there's just so many jokes and never ends. Now at number 1, to get serious, this is where I got put my critically acclaimed hat on, because although I love the blockbusters, I gotta keep it real, even though this is a blockbuster too. But I'm going with Dune Part 2, 10 out of 10 for my number 1 favorite best movie of 2024, because this is a sequel that delivered, although technically it's just a part 1 or a part 2 of the first movie. But man, with Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, just the supporting cast, the action, the cinematography, everything about this movie is flawless. It truly brings me back to like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where the director took so much effort in every shot, every time, every minute on screen. Like everything was just so beautifully planned out and delivered on screen, because when you enter a new franchise, you really want to deliver on that first movie, whether if it's Harry Potter or any of these like big first movie franchises. And I feel like with Dune, I don't think they're gonna have that many spin-offs, because just I heard the books aren't as good as, there's like 6 or 7 books that I want to get to, but they're not as good as like the first or second or third book. So I guess storyline, it does fall off. But as for this part 2 movie, it's just as good as part 1, if not more, because they have a huge battle scene. It's just so many key moments for the main character that he has to go through to become the leader that he's born to be. And it's just so inspiring. The music is absolutely beautiful, and the acting is just perfect in my opinion. So that's why this is my number 1 favorite movie of 2024. But honestly, I feel like it didn't really have much to compete with looking at my top 10, because like it's rare we get such a big epic movie like Dune. I wish there was more like that nowadays, but there hardly isn't. If anything, it's just copy and paste superhero movies, and I'm getting really tired of that, to be honest with you. I'm not even looking forward to like future Marvel movies or even DC, to be honest with you. It all depends on how these directors deliver. But for now, like something like Dune is definitely a magical movie. It's a special movie. So definitely check out Dune Part 2 if you haven't already. Let me know down in the comments what were some of your favorite movies of 2024. I feel like this was a good year overall. Maybe I give the year like a 8 out of 10, maybe a 9 out of 10. But I had a really good fun time looking back on this year, because although I feel like it wasn't personally stacked, I feel like these few movies were spread out throughout the year, to where it's like once a month I got a good type of movie that I was happy with. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my top 10 list. And like I said, let me know some of your favorites in the comments. If you're new here, definitely subscribe. I'm gonna be doing way more movie reviews the second half of next year, because I just got to go through some personal stuff right now. But I'm really excited. I don't know if I'm really excited for next year, because I did review the movies that are coming out next year. I'm gonna make a video on that, and I'll talk about that more in the next video about my upcoming 2025 movies. But for now, that's the end of the year. I appreciate you guys. Stay blessed.